Don't we have a divided country? It's kind of sad that it's as bad as it is. And although I kind of wonder really if it's as bad as it seems sometimes. Because I don't know about you, but as you go about your normal day and hang out with your friends and meet people you don't even know yet, maybe for the most part, or at work and everything, I doubt that you're just constantly fighting with people. If you are, maybe you need to check yourself. Uh, I think a lot of it is just media driven, of course, as we know, and a lot of it is kind of in the virtual world, and on social media, of course, where it's so easy to be divisive, where it's so easy to be angry. I don't know if as many people are truly and realistically that angry walking down the street. Now maybe they are, but I just still think it's a lot of it is a kind of a media concoction. It's and not just from the media. I mean, it's us too, because it's so easy for us to express it. Social media. Just like me on this camera. I can get revved up about something and post it, whereas I'm not talking to a real person. I could say a lot of insulting things and go crazy. It's a little bit easier as I sit here in the woods, or somebody sits in their living room or in their bedroom and talks to a camera or types on their computer or phone angry comments or something. It's just easier than saying that to somebody. So a lot of it is because it's so easy, especially if you're anonymous, right? So I don't know. I still have more faith in humanity. I kind of think a lot of it is not real. I think here I go full of philosophizing again, but you get a little bit of this right in every shooting the breeze. I just think it's so easy for us to express our anger or our disenchantment, our outrage, and then call it outrage and call it anger. Maybe it's not really that powerful an anger or outrage, but we keep using that word, right? I don't know, but I do think we're all in our own little camps, of course, and it's kind of human nature. You young people, yeah, I'm an old guy. I'm already kind of what I'm going to be. I'm not going to be changing a lot, right? But you young folks, let me give you some fatherly, grandfatherly, great-grandfatherly advice. Try to avoid some of that if you can. Study issues. Try to look at the facts of anything, whatever it is, politics or gun rights, the whole 9 yards. Look at the FBI stats and try to avoid calling people names all the time, and just know what the truth is as best we can determine it, and try to speak it sensibly, and you're not going to change anybody's mind by screaming at them or calling them names, but the most important thing, I think, is to not get tied into what's going on in the big media world and social media as much as look at the facts of whatever the issue is, whatever it is. Try to be a student of facts, because most of it's just a Google click away. You can find most of that. You can also find everything else, the drama as well. But that's my advice, to try to be sensible about things, calm, and look at the facts. Things are never as crazy or bad as they seem, just as they're never as good as they seem, right? Some profound philosopher said that one time. It's just so easy to get into a camp, and because we are kind of tribal, right? We are, and so we tend to, I don't know, just sort of group up and not think for ourselves. And there's a lot of power in that, or a lot of good feeling in that, if I'm hanging out with people who think just like I do, and or maybe I'm looking for a way to think. I'm looking for a group that I feel comfortable with, and man, these people, I like their style, man. They're dramatic. You know, they really know what they think. They know the truth. My gosh, are they confident? And boy, they're outraged. Yeah, but boy, they have reason to be outraged. They seem to know what's going on here. You know, it's just so easy to fall into that, isn't it? And we all do to some extent anyway. Even Second Amendment issues, you know, we're mostly, if you're watching this, you're part of that tribe, probably a Second Amendment supporter. You know, just like John and me. And we could even be that way. You know, I mean, we can be name callers. You know, I was listening to Tom Gresham this week, or last week, whenever he was talking about in one of his recent podcasts about his attendance in his speech at the gun rights conference in Chicago, and I almost went to that. I think I'm going to go next year. He said he was sitting there thinking about what he was going to say, and one of his common themes at that, and talking to people, you know, the shakers and movers, you know, in the gun rights world. Because everybody's there. I mean, a lot of people are from the GOA, the NRA, and other gun rights organizations, and just anybody interested that can afford to get away and hang out there, right? And listen to, you know, whether it was speeches, go to the seminars and things, conferences. But one of his themes is to get away from insulting the liberals, quote unquote. The numbers he was quoting, I think, were that like 25% of liberals or admitted liberals are gun owners. You know, now I don't know. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. I think that's what he said. Don't know where he got it, but he really keeps up with that stuff. And I know from comments that we get and conversations and messages that I hear from a lot of you who classify yourself as a liberal voter. That you own guns and you really support the Second Amendment. Now, it's easy for us, all of us, to give people a hard time if they claim to support the Second Amendment, but, you know, they vote for Dianne Feinstein, you know, or Chuck Schumer or something. You know, it just seems like, you know, a paradox, you know, so contradictory. But be that as it may, we get nowhere by name calling, you know, and I hope I don't do that. You know, one thing this whole endeavor has taught me is how many people with varying opinions on lots of things are interested in firearms. And as I've said many times, I think you get firearms in people's hands and they become a gun owner and a shooter and learn the pleasures and the security, you know, of having a firearm. They're gonna be thinking, I think, more and more like you, me, and everybody else when it comes to just freedom in general. And when they're going into the voting booth, I think they're going to more and more be looking at the names on those ballots and what they know or remember those people saying about firearms, you know, about the Second Amendment, or bills they propose to take away their firearms. You know, so we gain nothing by name calling. You know, we just need everybody in the fold that we can get, and you know, regardless of their religion or their race or the background, anything. Obviously, it's silly, you know, to divide people by all those things. You know, that's what the media likes to do. That's what politicians like to do, trying to gain power, keep everybody divided.